The first thing I would say about Mark Palumbo is we miss him every day because he was such a presence in the middle of this organization. One of the founding members of what we are as an organization. He was everything that you'd want in a human being and an orthopedic surgeon. So he was a great technical surgeon and physician. Patients still ask me about him. He, as a spine surgeon, that's very complicated surgery, and he was really a master technician. So he loved taking care of patients. So I think of him like that. I think of him as a master educator. The bar that Mark set in educating residents and fellows at Rhode Island Hospital and Brown University and University Orthopedics, there was no higher bar.
I even remember the first case we did together. It was a tough injury to the pelvis, and he came in, and it was amazing. He was a junior resident, and he knew the anatomy. He was prepared. He really, I was really impressed. And and then as he went along, and finally decided to go into spine, I was really so happy that was his decision. I think back almost every day. I think about him. Something comes up, even coming into this building. He was so involved in the construction of Kettle Point. I see a lot of his patients now, and they really, they talk about what a great physician he was. He spent a lot of time with them. They felt they had a good understanding of what he was going to recommend in terms of surgery. So they really they miss him also. I think the other thing that Mark, he was a great teacher. We have a conference every Tuesday morning with the residents, and he really was so organized. He was terrific in terms of presenting a case and having them answer questions he would raise, and I miss that because and I think it's we're trying to continue that, but it's tough. It's hard to replace.
Well, I had the great fortune of getting to know Mark all throughout my career. When I interviewed here for residency, Mark was a chief resident, and I remember sitting with him and being so impressed with him. And I just figured that all residents are going to turn out just like him if they come here, and I should come here. And when I got here, I realized he was a special person. The amazing thing about Mark is Mark could walk into any room and immediately be at ease, and immediately people would be drawn to him, and that's the kind of person that he was. And you would see him, interacting with, the local guy down the street, the president of the university. It didn't matter who you were. Mark treated everyone in the same way. The other thing I always remember about Mark when I think about him, and there are many things obviously to remember about Mark, is, I had a very rough patch in my practice where I was doing complicated surgery. I was on call. I was crazy busy. I was running around. I had all these things on my plate. And Mark had arranged a dinner for some of the spine folks. And I'm telling him, Mark, I'm really busy. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it. And I remember Mark called my wife and said, listen, I'm worried about him. He's working too hard. He's got to slow down. You make sure he comes to this. And what I didn't know, what I learned, after Mark passed away, so my wife said he called her not infrequently. And who does that? Nobody does that. And he said, I know we all work hard. Mark was at that point in his career when he was my age, that he was working too hard and didn't appreciate things in life. And that was just his way of saying, listen, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm checking on you. And you always knew that he was checking on you, and it's pretty amazing. So, it's hard to describe Mark in one word, but he was an amazing friend. He was an amazing surgeon. He was an amazing teacher, and just an amazing person.
And he was technically gifted. He was a true physician, where he really cared for his patients carefully and thoughtfully. And he was a great mentor to a whole generation of spine surgeons in Rhode Island and across the country. He did excellent research. He was a superb physician. He cared for his patients. He cared about the community, and he was a great mentor to me and many other surgeons who he trained over the years.
Mark always wanted to build University Orthopedics into something more. It was basically because of his drive to improve patient care and the patient experience. He really felt that even though Rhode Island's a small state, there's no reason that it could not have a regionally excellent orthopedic center to take care of all the musculoskeletal problems of the population.
You know, we were good friends outside of work, and you know, and that's where, you know, I think I had the opportunity to learn as much from him as I did at work and as a spine surgeon. He was a big part of the Rhode Island community. You know, obviously he was known as a great surgeon, but he was also, you know, very involved with extracurricular activities and had a wide circle of friends, and you know, he was so he had a big influence on people in multiple different ways.
You know, one thing I thought was he really developed a relationship with my dad, actually, when I was in training. And you know, my dad said, you know, he's the kind of person that, you know, when your son or your child goes into the world, you hope that in their career they find someone who brings them along like he did for me.
I think he was a great teacher. His legacy lives on through his fellows that he taught, through the residents, and so I think we're not going to forget him soon, that's for sure.